These travel tips are so awesome that you are going to want to subscribe by the end of the video. And I'm not talking about subscribing to me. I'm talking about subscribing to the content creator I am reacting to today. Hey guys, it's Erica from America, your favorite flight attendant, and today I am reacting to a new travel guru who seems to still be growing his channel. And I gotta tell you, his 15 travel tips are so amazing that I had something to say about all of them. They struck memories in me that I was like, oh, that's a fantastic tip, but there's also this that can go along with it. And there was so much that the video ended up being incredibly long. So I'm cutting this video up into 2 videos, and in today's video, I'm going to react to what I think are the best of his tips and the best advice that I can give to you to add on to that. That would be really helpful. But today's stuff is what I think is the true gems of his advice and my advice to go along with it. So let's just jump right into this. So today I am reacting to 15 hidden flight tricks airlines are keeping quiet about on purpose. And the creator is Airport Now. Never reacted to Airport Now, so let's see what we can find out about them. First off, they have 18,800 subscribers and 51 videos. Description: welcome to Airport Now, your front row seat to the world of aviation. Explore everything about airplanes, airports, airlines, and global air travel. Airport Now brings you behind the scenes at major airports, real flight experiences, airline reviews, and up-to-date aviation news from the US and around the world. On this channel, you'll find in-depth airport tours and operations, honest airline reviews from economy to first class, real-time flight experiences, and cabin walkthroughs, aviation industry updates and insights, travel hacks, flight tips, and how to fly smarter. A little bit played, and I'm not sure if this is a faceless channel or not. Like I said, this is my first time reacting to it, but I'm always up for learning something from the passengers, so let's see what they have to say. Hey guys, real quick. Okay, I'm about to run off to the airport, but before I do, I just wanted to add this one thing from the cutting room. This video is excellent. All of the tips are fantastic tips, and I reacted to all of them, but when I reacted to all of them, the video was over an hour long. So I tried to cut out the ones where I had less to offer other than, good tip, or just something very short and small. And I tried to keep in the ones that I actually added more bulk to it. So keep that in mind. In the grab your remote section, I will go ahead and pop that video up so you can go over and watch the rest of the tips because they are excellent. And again, I do recommend that you subscribe to this person, and I look forward to reacting to them in the future. So let's get on with this.
The hallways curve strangely. Coffee shops are always just out of reach. You swear someone designed this place to confuse you, or at least squeeze every dollar they can while you're half awake. Well, they did. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 15 sneaky tricks airlines and airports hope you never figure out. Not the usual get there early stuff. These are real hacks, used by frequent flyers to save cash, skip headaches, and quietly beat the system. And the best part? You don't need points, perks, or a platinum card. Just a few smart moves, and suddenly, you're flying like you've cracked the code. Oh, and make sure you stick around for tip 14, because it'll change the way you look at your suitcase wheels forever. Let's get into it. First up, a trick that feels almost too simple, but it actually works. Did you know Uber and Lyft charge extra just for picking you up at the airport? It's called an airport pickup fee, and depending on the airport, it can run you anywhere from $4 to $15, on top of whatever surge pricing is already happening. Add in traffic, confusion over pickup zones, and the joy of dragging your luggage through a parking garage. And before you know it, that cheap ride ain't so cheap. So what do seasoned travelers do? They grab a hotel shuttle, free, fast, and way less stressful. Most major airport hotels, Holiday Inn, Best Western, Marriott, offer complimentary shuttles to and from the terminal. And here's the secret. No one checks if you're actually staying there.
True.
Just hop on the shuttle, ride it to the hotel, then order your Uber from there. No airport fee, no chaos. Usually a faster pickup too. I've done this plenty of times. Landed at LAX, walked right onto a nearby hotel shuttle, ordered an Uber from the lobby. And it showed up in 2 minutes. Clean, calm, no $7 surprise fee tacked on. And there's another underrated perk, safety. Some airport pickup zones are tucked into dark, sketchy corners of multi-level garages, but hotel lobbies, bright, monitored, easy to spot your ride. So next time you fly, do a quick Google search for nearby hotels with free shuttles. It's one small detour that can save you money, time, and a whole lot of stress. And something tells me the airport doesn't exactly want you to know that.
There is a surcharge fee if you do Uber and Lyft directly from the airport because that's considered prime drive time. That is a good tip, what they said. However, there is a nightmare caveat attached to that, especially in Orlando. When I was in Orlando with my family, right after I became a flight attendant, so I'd say 2018 maybe, I had actually rented a car. So I caught the shuttle from the airport to a rental car place late at night. And it was literally 5 minutes from the airport. It was outside of the airport in like this sketchy area. When I got there, I was really surprised that the rental car agency had pulled a bait and switch on me. And I was pissed. I was so mad. I basically told them no. I wasn't going to rent the car because they wanted to charge me an extra $250 on top of the rental fee. And so I tried calling up an Uber and they accepted my request and then didn't show up and made me wait for like half an hour, even though I could see in the app that they were at the airport. And I kept texting them like, are you coming? And they'd be like, yes, we're coming. And they didn't come at all. And so I canceled it, which meant I now couldn't review them and say how crappy this was. Ordered the next one, same problem. Cancel that one, order the next one, same problem. Finally ordered a taxi because it's the middle of the night and there I am with a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old and my husband and I. And it was like, this is awful. It is a good idea to take it to a hotel, but you want to make sure that hotel is far enough away from the airport so then that way you don't actually have to worry about that surcharge. But basically the point of that is they had figured out in Orlando that they could make more money picking up people from the airport versus from nearby where they would get less money for picking you up. And if you canceled it, you can't review them, so they couldn't get penalized. So why are they going to waste their time working for half as much money if they just let you cancel it and just lead you on in the meantime? So if you do that trick, you want to get as far away from the airport as you can. So when you order that Uber, you aren't triggering the airport Ubers. Here's a couple more fun tricks that you could do as far as ordering shuttles. Recently, I was in Dallas, one of my least favorite airports. I absolutely despise the way that it's laid out because the shuttle system there is a complete and utter nightmare. Every time I go there, I end up waiting 45 minutes outside for the shuttle, and it's always way too hot for me because I do not like 100-degree weather. Recently, the company had sent me to a hotel there. So it was one of those hotels that wasn't a generic brand. But it wasn't like a 5-star. It was just your basic 4-star. It was like a Wyndham. And there were several hotel shuttles that went to the Wyndham, but they were different Wyndhams throughout the Dallas area. The shuttle driver would get off and verify which Wyndham we were going to. And he made a mistake and he said, yeah, I'm going to that Wyndham. Go ahead and get in the shuttle. And I got in the shuttle. And as soon as I got in the shuttle, the Wyndham that I was supposed to get on, their shuttle, they called me and said, where are you? And I said, I'm on your shuttle. And then the shuttle driver went, uh-oh, I picked up the wrong person. Turned out, though, that one of the hotels he was going to was right next to the hotel that I was going to. So he actually did drop me off at my hotel. But when he stopped at the hotel that was literally next door, I realized I could have just got out and walked. And that just doubled my options to get to the hotel shuttle. Something that could be really good is if you're going to book a hotel, see if you can find hotels nearby that have a shuttle service. Something fancier like a Hilton, a DoubleTree, a Renaissance. Something that definitely would have a hotel shuttle. And sometimes you can get on that hotel shuttle and then if it's near your hotel, you can just walk over to your hotel and save some money that way. Because not all of the hotels that are near the airport have shuttles. You can use that not only to go to other hotels, which I know is super sketchy, but here in Chicago, we have a couple of hotels near O'Hare that are near a Target, which is really handy if you wanted to just pop out, grab something from Target to eat for the day because you're there for a long time, and then go back. Probably one of the closest ones is a Wyndham. It's literally across the street from a Target, and I believe their shuttle comes like every 30 minutes. It's basically the same thing. Like they said, you get there, you walk into the lobby, you just act like you're staying there. You can walk through the hotel if it makes you uncomfortable and go out one of the back doors across the street. And then you're far enough away from the hotel that if you order up an Uber, you don't get that surcharge.
You know what kills the airport vibe faster than anything? That snaking, soul-sucking security line. You're still half asleep, clutching your boarding pass, and wondering if your belt will be the one that sets off the alarm this time. But what if I told you you could skip that whole line without paying for TSA pre-check, without flying business class, without even flashing a fancy credit card?
Do tell.
Some airports now let you reserve a free time slot to go through security. It's called Reserve Security or Express Lane, and it's like having a backstage pass without the price tag. The process is surprisingly simple. The night before your flight, go to the airport's website, pick a time window, say 9:15 to 9:30, and you'll get a QR code. When you show up, you scan it at a designated lane, breeze past the crowd, and go straight in. No guessing. No snaking through 20 zigzags of stanchions. Just in. Airports like Orlando, Seattle, Amsterdam, London, Heathrow, they've all started rolling this out. And the wild thing? Hardly anyone uses it. Why? Because they don't advertise it, which is exactly why it works. Think about it. If everybody knew, it wouldn't be fast anymore. So next time you're flying, just type your airport name plus reserve security time into Google. It takes 2 minutes to book and can save you 20 in line. That's 20 extra minutes for coffee, a bathroom break, or easily avoiding panic about missing your gate. It's free, it's easy, and it's exactly the kind of thing airports hope you don't figure out.
That's a really good tip. I like that. Stay tuned until the end, and I will see if I can get you a list of airports that have that in the US.
Here's a tiny trick that feels like a joke until you try it and breeze past a dozen people stuck in line. When most travelers walk into the security area, what do? They drift right. It's instinct, especially in countries like the US, where over 85% of people are right-handed. Without thinking, they follow the crowd and form a slow, clunky queue at the first few lanes. But if you stop for 2 seconds, scan the entire setup, and veer left, you'll usually find shorter lines, faster moving agents, and less chaos. I learned this the hard way. One morning at LAX, I followed the herd. 20-minute wait, grumpy people, trays everywhere. The guy behind me, he looked once, walked left, and was through in 5 minutes. I saw him sipping a latte at the gate before I even got my shoes back on. Since then, it's been my go-to move. Doesn't cost a thing. No app needed. Just one smart turn. One more thing most people miss: the farthest lanes, especially ones partially hidden, tend to be even emptier. Most people stop at the first thing they see. Walk a few extra steps, save yourself 10 extra minutes.
First of all, he's right. The very far ends of where you go to check in, there's usually security gates at the very end, especially at O'Hare. There's a thing called KCM at a lot of airports. Not all airports, but a lot of airports. What KCM stands for is known crew member. The KCM line for flight attendants and pilots is usually on the outer edge of all of the TSA lines. Just like you said, if you go way far to the left or way far to the right, the lines there are generally shorter because most people tend to drop off everyone right in the middle where all the masses of cars are, and then they just head in and they head to the nearest line. Not a lot drop off at the very beginning or at the very end because they think they're going to miss it and they think there's not going to be parking. So they hit like right away and then people get out and they go in. But at the very, very end, those lines tend to be thinner. And if you look up ahead of time where KCM is at the airport, they always put KCM at the bigger airports, usually where the lines are the thinnest. Because those security agents not only have to deal with the massive line, but they have to switch off and come over to us and scan us through so that we can get through faster. So at O'Hare, KCM is generally way down, like one end or the other. And I know in Dallas as well, they have it at each terminal. And the thing about Dallas is Dallas has a Skylink. So if you were to go in, say, at the B gates where there is a KCM, that particular security where KCM is, you come out right by the Skylink, and then you just jump on the Skylink and catch it around to where you do want to go. And it can be a lot faster. The diabolical tip that I'm going to tell you is for those of you that need it, don't abuse this. The wheelchairs is the diabolical tip. It's usually free to ask for a wheelchair at any airport you go to. And they will take you from the curb to your gate. Just so you know, the wheelchair pushers, they make less than minimum wage most of the time. So if you do this, make sure you tip your wheelchair people really good, because they walk like 13 miles a day and they basically live off of tips. But this works really well if you don't speak a language in a particular area. If you don't speak the language, you can ask for a wheelchair and then they'll wheel you to your gate and they take you to a special line that is for people with wheelchairs. And you do have to make your way through security there. But those lines are also short, and that's the diabolical tip that I wanted to tell you.
Duty-free sounds like a great deal. No tax, airport exclusive, limited time offer. But don't let the label fool you. Just because it's duty-free doesn't mean it's cheaper. In fact, some things cost more than they do at your local store. Airports know you're in a spending mood, excited to start your trip, or relieved you made it through security. That's when your brain is most vulnerable to impulse buying. And duty-free shops are built to take full advantage of that moment. Many products are bundled into airport-only sizes or gift packs, making price comparison harder. A bottle of perfume might look like a deal until you realize it's $20 cheaper at your local store. I've even seen candy boxes marked travel exclusive that cost more per ounce than regular ones at Target. Smart travelers do one simple thing. They check the price. Use your phone, scan the barcode, look it up on Amazon or Walmart before you buy. It takes 30 seconds and can save you a small fortune, especially on liquor, skincare, or tech. Bottom line, duty-free isn't always a scam, but it's definitely not always a bargain. Treat it like any other store. If the deal's real, it'll still be there after a quick price check.
Okay, real quick, the one thing that he seems to be leaving out. Look at that picture. What do you see? Booze, 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 alcohol, perfume, liquids, stuff you can't take through security. It's gift size because it's last minute gifts. How many times do you get to the airport when you're coming from a trip and you think, oh, I forgot to give a gift for Nana or for my child or my sister. And you think, what do I get? I don't know what to get. Duty free is probably the only place in pretty much any airport where you can buy alcohol or even perfume. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've seen any Sephoras. I've seen Brighton's. I don't see too many toiletry shops at a lot of these larger airports. It's like mostly food and stuff like that. Let's say you're coming back from Paris and you want to bring back a wine from Paris. You go to the duty-free shop and a lot of times they will have wine that is somehow related to that particular country. You might get the same old whiskey that you always get all the time, but maybe you're buying it in the country where it's made. That seems to have a lot more meaning to people than the fact that you got it at the grocery store back home. If you get a bottle of wine from France, they don't care if they have that same brand. You just brought them a bottle that's verified to have been bought in France. Stuff like that generally almost always is going to be cheaper at duty free versus if it's exported to America, especially with the tariffs, and you're giving them a bottle of wine. Otherwise, if you buy that stuff before security, you have to put it in your suitcase and check it, meaning it doesn't go through security with you. Yeah, there's that. Also, just remember, if you do buy alcohol, you are not allowed to drink it on the plane. On the plane, you have to buy it from the plane. That way we have a better chance to track you. Make sure you don't get drunk and belligerent. But the point is, these are liquids that you would not get through security, and they're gift size because it's that last minute gift you might want to get for someone. Just keep that in mind. Duty free is pretty much one of the only places where you're guaranteed to be able to get that kind of stuff, especially candies and chocolates and everything that you might find locally. So if you do go there, I would go and I would look for stuff that you know you wouldn't find in your area.
Airlines are betting on one thing, that you'll pack too much and pay for it. Overweight fees, extra bag charges, last-minute check-in at the gate. It all adds up. But here's what they don't tell you. You can wear as much as you want. No one's charging you for that extra hoodie on your back or the second pair of sneakers on your feet. Savvy travelers turn this into a mini travel hack. Got a bulky coat? Layer it. Too many shirts? Stack them. I once saw a guy in Seattle board a flight looking like a walking thrift store. 3 jackets, 2 scarves, cargo pants stuffed like a filing cabinet.
That's so wrong.
Did anyone stop him?
Nope.
Nope. He walked on without paying a cent. And once you're on the plane, just shed the layers. Stuff them under the seat, roll up a jacket as a pillow, or drape that giant sweater like a blanket. You're warm, comfy, and you just saved $40 on a checked bag. So if your carry-on's bursting at the seams, don't panic. Just wear the overflow. You'll look a little ridiculous, but your wallet will be fine. And hey, airport fashion is subjective anyway.
So I remember once I read this book from this guy that was a traveler, and his goal everywhere he went was just to travel with what he was wearing, a plastic bag with one change of clothes so that he could like wash his clothes and change it, and then whatever he could fit in his pockets. And I always thought that was the coolest idea. Like, how minimalist can you go as a traveler? And then the first thing he would do, he said, whenever he got to a new town, was he would go out to the local drugstores, Walmart, Target, advice that I always give, and he would go find his toiletries from there. And he pointed out that this was a great way to explore the area near wherever it was that you were staying. You now had a mission instead of just aimlessly wandering around thinking about what am I going to do today. So I always thought that that was a really great tip. If you want to do something like that, think cargo pants, think jackets with lots of pockets. That's a little less obvious. And again, like he said, if you have something like that, especially a jacket with lots of pockets, you can use it as a pillow. Here's the thing though. A lot of airlines, especially airlines in the US nowadays, they want you to check your bags. Don't check your bags at the curb. That's going to cost money. But when you get to the gate, they're more than willing to check your bag for free. And here's the thing that a lot of passengers don't know. We are more likely to hold a plane for your bag than we are for you. So if you come in late and you have a tight connection and now you have to run through the airport, we are more likely to hold the plane for your bag versus you. There's a reason why we close the gate 10 to 15 minutes before departure time. And that's so that way we can get the weight and balance of the passengers. The ground crew can get all of the bags from all the planes they're coming from. They can load them in, strap them down, get a count, do the weight and balance with the bags, and then all of those numbers get turned into the captain, just one after the other. And once all those numbers are in, that's generally when we close the door and we push. So your bag is more likely to help you make the next flight if you check it. If you want to save that money, just check it at the gate. Take a 20-inch rollerboard through, check it at the gate, check out the way that I told you about how to pack 10 items for like 50 outfits, and make it simpler. But yeah, I think that's a bit excessive. I haven't seen too many people come through looking like Joey from Friends. Do you remember that episode? But anyway, let's watch the next one.
There's a simple way to avoid travel meltdowns before they even start. Fly early. Morning flights are your best shot at leaving on time, arriving on time, and avoiding the domino effect of delays that stack up throughout the day.
That's true.
One late departure at 8 a.m. can ripple across dozens of flights after it, especially at major hubs like Chicago, Atlanta, or JFK. But early flights, they're usually sitting on the tarmac, already cleaned, fueled, and waiting from the night before. Less traffic, shorter lines, smoother skies. And here's a perk people often overlook. Early flights are the cleanest flights.
True.
That's the one time the cabin's been freshly wiped, the bathroom's restocked, and the crumbs from yesterday actually vacuumed up. Plus, fares are often cheaper, especially midweek, and airports are quieter, which makes everything feel less chaotic. Sounds great until you realize it only works if you're flying from home or staying nearby. Because if you're in a new city, that 6 a.m. flight often comes with a catch of its own. A $200 hotel bill just to be close enough to make it on time.
So he's saying it would cost more coming from and going home because of the $200 hotel bill to be closer. I think that depends on the city you're in and the type of hotel you're doing. If you're going to a fancy 5-star hotel, then yeah, it can be expensive, but there's plenty of 3 and 4-star hotels like Wyndham's, Comfort Inns, Best Westerns, where you can be closer to the airport. Hotel shuttle service is free, and it's anywhere from $50 to maybe $100 for the night. One of the things that I like to do when I go to a city is I will book a hotel near the airport for the night I arrive and for the night before I leave, in order to keep not only costs down, but if the plane comes in really, really late, I'm not driving an hour into whatever city to get to sleep. I'll probably already be tired. It's easier to get as close to the airport as you can, at least the night before you leave. That will save you the most money. What he said is true. Early morning flights have been cleaned overnight. They've been security checked. They've been completely reset. They don't get like super deep carpet cleanings, like wet carpet cleanings. They do get vacuumed and usually sanitized and wiped down with sanitizers. The bathrooms are cleaned between every single flight. They're usually wiped down really, really good with whatever cleaner the cleaners use, and then they spray it to get rid of the smell. Outstations, smaller airports, they try their best to get it as clean as they can, but a lot of times they don't have the staffing to do it. So you might get into your seat coming from a smaller station and see crumbs all over the floor. But most people would rather leave on time versus wait for the cleaning crew to clean it up. Basically, yeah, it is a domino effect. The planes fly all day long from one airport to the other, and it can cause a domino effect. The earlier you leave in the morning, the more likely you are to reach your destination the same day, especially with misconnects and issues that can happen throughout the day. If you do those last flights of the day, then you are more likely to get stranded in an airport overnight. You want to always try to land at a big airport at least 1 to 2 flights before the last flight of the day. So if the last flight of the day is at 10 o'clock and then it's 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock and 4 o'clock, say every 2 hours, then you want to try to shoot for that 8 o'clock or that 6 o'clock flight. That way, if you misconnect, you'll go to the next one. If you misconnect the 8 o'clock, you'll get on the 10 o'clock flight. They'll automatically bump you over. Yeah, the best flights of the day, the cleanest flights of the day usually are the early morning ones. Security can be absolutely insane for those first flights of the day, especially at the big hubs. So make sure you give yourself a little bit more time for that, which does suck because then you're leaving like 1 or 2 in the morning for those 5 a.m. flights. You might get there sooner, or you might be in the airport all day, especially if you're traveling at the end of 2025. It is after the shutdown and things have lightened up already, which I'll do in a crew chat coming up soon. But it's Christmas season. It's always tight.
Want to score a better deal on your next flight? It's not just about the destination. It's about when you book. According to travel pros at Google Flights and Hopper, the cheapest days to buy plane tickets are usually Tuesday and Wednesday. Airlines often launch fare discounts on Monday nights, and by Tuesday morning, competitors adjust their prices to match. That's your sweet spot. Miss Tuesday? Don't worry. Wednesday's a close second. It's one of the least busy booking days, so airlines quietly drop fares to encourage purchases. Add in the fact that flying on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Saturdays also tends to be cheaper, and you've got yourself a winning combo. It's not a magic rule, but it works more often than not. Of course, holiday seasons, school breaks, and big events can throw prices into chaos. True. That's why smart travelers use tools like Google Flights or Hopper to track fare trends and set alerts. Bottom line, the day you hit book matters. Choose the right one, and you could save enough for a nice dinner. Booked right? Now reward yourself with sushi.
The reason I believe that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays are usually the cheaper days to fly is because those are usually the days that have more empty seats. Most people want to fly Thursday, Friday, Sunday, or Monday because those days kick off a long weekend. Tuesdays, Wednesdays are generally middle of the week when people don't want to fly. Saturdays, people don't want to fly because they're already on their trips. So the planes tend to be emptier those days, which is why they're often cheaper. A lot of times people think that they have to book like months out in advance to get the best price. That's not always the case either. I find a lot of times, sometimes waiting until that last month before your trip might trigger the best prices. The reason for that is because the airlines generally have a set price in mind for what they want for the ticket for that plane. There's a set price for the planes to go from one airport to the other. Each airport has a docking fee. O'Hare's docking fee, I think, is a couple $1,000s for even the smaller planes and then on up for the bigger planes, whereas the smaller airports might be $800 to dock. So they put those prices together. They put in the price of the fuel. They're doing this flight every single day, several times a day. So they know these numbers and all of those add together. So then there's a breaking point, like how much do they have to make in order to break even. Then they calculate the occupancy rate of the airplane, how many seats have been sold. So they start out with the basic price of here is how much we need to charge until we hit this point. Let's say that point is 60%. If the plane is 60% full, then they would need maybe like $300 a ticket. And that comes out to about $18,000. I'm just doing that off the top of my head. So $18,000 may seem like that's so much money to fly, and especially if the docking fee is only $3,000 for a small plane, what that has to cover is the cost of fuel. I remember once flying from Chicago to Tennessee and we had a broken fuel gauge. So we had to fill the tanks completely up, and they put in 11,000 pounds of fuel. That's what the pilot told me. And we had to burn all of that fuel before we could land. So instead of that being a 2-hour flight, we had to fly the long way, and it ended up being a 4-hour flight. And then we had to do the same thing back. But the point is, they know how many thousands of pounds of fuel they need to counterbalance the wind, the weight of the people, the weight of the bags. They know how much the docking fee is. They know how much they have to pay us, how much they have to pay the ground crew. And the docking fee usually includes the trash, the catering, and all of that stuff, which is why some airports are more expensive than other airports. Once they've got that 60% occupancy done, that's just an estimate, that's not an exact number. They then have the other 40%, and at that point they start thinking, oh, can we fill it up? Let's start playing with the numbers. And so you'll see the numbers kind of start to shrink lower than what it was originally. And then once you get into that last week to 10 days, sometimes even 2 weeks, then the prices will go up again, because that's when people start to panic. They think, I have to buy this ticket now, or I really need to go here. Then you get that surcharge back up. So somewhere, I would say, in the 2 week to 1 month range, I've seen, not as a flight attendant, but as a fellow traveler, that has always been a really good sweet spot for booking really good prices on tickets. And if you want to know for sure, what I do is I go to Expedia.com first, or Travelocity.com, and I will look for flights, and I will find whoever is offering the cheapest airfare to where I'm going. And then I would go over to that airline's website. Once you get to American Airlines or United or Delta, whoever you're flying with, and you put in those same flight parameters, you can see a map of day to day how much it's going to cost. And you can look for the next month. You can see if the flights are more expensive within a month, within 2 weeks, within 4 months, and then that'll help you get the best price.
If you've been dreaming of a getaway but dreading sky-high airfare, here's a little-known sweet spot. August. Yep, August. Even though it's smack in the middle of summer and sounds like peak travel season, it's actually the cheapest month to fly. According to the latest data from Expedia, flights in August can cost up to 12% less for domestic trips and around 7% less for international ones, compared to the priciest months of the year. So what's the catch? It comes down to timing. In the US, kids are heading back to school. In Europe, locals in countries like France and Italy are off on their own vacations. And in many destinations, August also brings peak heat, which nudges demand just low enough to bring prices down. It's a perfect storm of quiet demand, tucked inside a month people assume is expensive. So if you're flexible and want to travel smarter, aim for late summer. You'll beat the crowds, stretch your budget, and maybe even snag a better seat, with cash to spare for gelato.
Okay, hold up. Yes, August is a good price, but I want to point out something completely out of the blue, something that only an avid traveler would know. The best time to fly, money-wise, is one thing. It's usually spring and fall, just generally. I prefer to fly towards the beginning of spring, say somewhere between February to May, personally. And that's because of tourist season. Hear me out. I love Paris. It's one of my favorite cities in the whole world. I love the French. If you go at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of tourist season, they are so nice and so friendly and so lovely. And they will chat with you. Paris, they can be a little bit more, but they still are nicer at the beginning of the year. And then tourist season kicks off, and all of a sudden they get flooded, especially with Americans. Americans, believe it or not, are not great travelers. We are very entitled travelers. We get there and we expect people to speak English, and we expect people to cater to us, like the whole customer is king mentality that we have, whereas other countries don't have that mentality. So Paris will get flooded with tourists who are American and tourists who are English. The English, they know to not be like, speak English to me, but the Americans don't, which is ironic because here in America, we get so mad if somebody tries to speak to us in Spanish or in another language. And we're like, no, you're in America, speak English. American tourists don't offer that same kind of attitude when they travel outside of the country. So Paris gets inundated with American travelers and English travelers, and they actually put up British flags in different areas to let you know we speak English here. I remember first time I saw that, I was like, what's with the British flag? I don't get it. And it took me a couple of minutes to realize, like, oh, they probably speak English. When traveling around Paris, I noticed Americans demanding of the waiters and the waitresses speak English to me. And the waitresses would be like, you are in France, you speak French. And they'd be like, do you speak English? They'd be like, no, I do not. They choose who they want to speak French to and who they don't. And so if you're going at the end of tourist season, you may be going to a culture where everybody has been inundated with tourists who are demanding that they be treated the way that they would be treated in their home country. And they're often very frustrated. On top of that, the weather is hotter in August, so it might be a little bit more muggy and a little bit more uncomfortable. I feel the best travel season is the beginning of the year, beginning of spring, when things are still cooler. Flowers are blooming everywhere, and you want to get there before school gets out, because when school gets out, that's when the tourists start to inundate a lot of these popular cities. The locals are much nicer at the beginning of the year. So yes, August can be cheaper, but you might also get a lot more attitude from the place you're going to because they will be sick of it. Unless you're going to a college town. If you're going to a college town, like say State College, Pennsylvania, a lot of the students have left for the summer and all of the locals come out to play and they're super happy and they're super nice. So August would be a great time to actually go visit a college town. Also on the flip side, let's say you are going to Australia. August is perfect for Australia because that is their spring and airfare will be super, super cheap. Keep that in mind if you're going south of the equator. Spring and autumn might be exactly the opposite. They might be flipped. So not only will you get a great deal, but August is much better if you want to have a pleasant experience tourist-wise.
Once you know them, you'll never travel the same way again. From sneaky shuttle hacks and secret security lanes to why August is your new favorite travel month,
April.
These little moves add up to smoother trips, smaller bills, and way fewer surprises at 35,000 feet. If this video gave you even one new tip, consider giving it a like or sharing it with that friend who always overpacks and still forgets a charger. And tell me in the comments, what's your favorite airport in the world? I'd honestly love to know. Thanks for flying with us. See you in the next one.
Grab your remote, guys, because it's that time of the video. And did I not say that those were excellent tips? I hope you guys found that person's advice and my advice useful. Really quickly, I just want to thank you guys for those of you who commented in the last video that I did about should I do more personal advice videos or should I just keep sticking to reactions. Most of you said you want both. And I appreciate that so much that you guys told me that. I am still working on the How to Sleep Like a Flight Attendant video. Since that one is just personal advice, it is much longer and I realize there's so much information it might actually turn into a book. I might cut that video up into a series of different things to help you sleep better, starting with basic hotel stuff. Hit the subscribe button for the notification bell for that. In the meantime, grab your remote. Here is the link to his video. Here is a link to the video that I did about how to pack 10 items and get like 50 outfits in case you haven't seen that one yet. I do plan on doing another crew room chat shortly. It's not going to be as edited as my normal videos. It's going to be more just a chatting to the camera kind of thing. And again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for watching it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao.